The average family living in Bellaire or West University pays approximately $9,000 in property taxes to HISD annually, but is not proportionally represented in the student body. They largely favor HISD magnet and neighborhood campuses only, or they choose to pay, and they can afford to pay, approximately $18,000 per year per child for private school. Should HISD strive to increase enrollment among affluent white and Asian families? If so, what would you advocate for without hurting other demographic groups?
Do I start with this?
You finished last time. I just did it, John.
So I think, yes, absolutely, HISD should strive to get all communities more involved in HISD. I think, for starters, it's the right thing to do. Second, the higher enrollment goes, the less recapture impacts us. Third, I think everybody wants to go to their neighborhood school. Nobody, unless they're going for a parochial reason, wants to send their kids to a very expensive private school or a high-performing charter that's half an hour, 45 minutes away. So I think it's our duty to improve neighborhood schools and give parents in those communities options that they feel they can trust. One reason that parents don't send their kids to the neighborhood schools is because they're concerned about safety. So this is something that Mike Munster, who's the trustee that's stepping down, harps on this all the time. It's communication from the districts out to parents, simple safety metrics. I'm an engineer. Whenever we go into a job site, there's a board that says number of days since a lost time incident. I think we can communicate similar metrics out to the parents so they can know that these campuses are safe. Second, I'm a big believer in school choice by in-district magnets, in-district charters. I think those programs help to keep these affluent families in the district, and I support expanding those and then continuing.
All of my children have gone to magnet schools, and so I'm a big fan of them because I know for many people it gives you the option of staying at HISD. And HISD has some great, fantastic elementary magnet schools, and they have some fantastic middle and high school magnet schools, and they have some fantastic neighborhood schools as well. But we lose so many students to private school, especially at middle school, and I think that one way to keep people attracted, one is definitely safety. I totally agree with that. But the other thing is I think that we need to have more targeted magnets in different areas of town that really truly appeal to parents. And the other thing that we need to also consider is specialized programs. For example, at Pershing Middle School, they used to have this fast track, this fast track for very, very gifted kids. They had to take a test to get into it. Even if you were RDGT, you still had to take a test. And that was a shining star in Pershing Middle School. And just this past year, the principal, who's been there for a year, decided to get rid of that program. And so these are things to consider about not just decentralization and centralization, but also what we need to do to make our middle schools more attractive and keep our students.
We have some middle and high schools that the parents are very adamant about, that they don't want their kids to go there. And I believe that the exact quote is, "I'm not sending my child to that terrible school." And shame on us, number one, for having any schools that are considered terrible. But number two, even as those schools start to improve, even as we bring in magnet programs, even as we have programs that the parents would like, we're not communicating what's really happening in our schools. We've had a huge turnaround at Westbury High School, which isn't in Bellaire or West University, but there are families now that are zoned to that school, that are going back to that school because of what the principal is doing there. But there are just as many families that refuse to put their children there just because of the perception and just because of what they've seen in the past. So we need to work on our PR.
About a third of HISD zoned students attend a school other than their neighborhood school through some kind of in-district transfer, whether it's magnet transfer, principal transfer, or something else. We have about another 10% or more of our student population, of our zone population, who exit our district entirely and go to charter school, private school, or homeschool. I fail to understand, I've stated it in the Chronicle, I've talked to administration about this, why we are not asking when nearly half of our families are seeking its choice besides their neighborhood school. Why? What are families looking for their children? And I think the answers to those questions should be informing and driving our decisions for improving our neighborhood schools, building stronger school communities within our district, and attracting families back to our district that might be leaving to other schools.